Hi, and welcome to your practice today. This is a yin practice with a low back focus, so focusing on releasing tension and finding some relief for the low back. You're going to want a bolster or a rolled up blanket for your practice today. A couple pillows can also work great. And we're going to begin in a supported resting pose. So bring yourself right down onto your back, and then we're going to take our prop of choice, just sliding it underneath of the knees. And allowing ourselves to feel really, really supported here. If you need a little bit more support for the low back, feel free to take the bolster at the higher height, or alternatively just placing additional props underneath of the knees. But we want the low back to feel really, really supported and relaxed. And you can just allow the legs to kind of fall however feels most comfortable for you. So we can have a little opening through the hips with the knees falling outwards, or keeping the legs a little closer together, wider. Just finding a position that feels safe and supported. Let's slowly draw the shoulders down the back, opening through the heart, and allow the hands to rest where they feel supported for you. So it could be alongside the body, on the floor, could be to the belly. Sometimes I like to take my arms out nice and wide, just broadening through the back and finding deeper connection in with the mat space. Just really allow yourself to feel comfortable, to feel safe. Allowing yourself to sink deeper into the mat. Finding connection with the breath and with the body. And just taking a moment to give yourself the permission to be really present in your practice today. Not worrying about what you were doing before you arrived. Not worrying about what's to come. Just being present here and now. Mindfully connecting with the body and connecting with the breath. With each inhale, drawing the breath down a little bit further into the body. And with our exhale, releasing the breath slowly but completely. Emptying the lungs before inviting in that next full inhale. Without any judgment, let's begin to shift the awareness to the lower back, to the back of the hips and the pelvis, as well as the spine. And just observe what's happening right here for you. What's happening now. And then just beginning to send the breath down into this part of the body. Allowing the inhale to bring love and light and healing, nourishment. And then let's utilize those exhales to let go of anything feeling uncomfortable, heavy, tight. Inhaling nourishment, and exhale, letting go of the tension through the physical body, emotional body, mental body, energetic body. Inviting energy to flow freely through this part of the body. Be taking a moment to choose a mantra to use through your practice today. Thinking about what you would like to receive from your practice. Some examples might be, I allow myself to heal. I am letting go of unnecessary tension. I feel safe and supported in my body. Or anything else that comes to mind for you. Gently beginning to slide the heels up the mat space. We can use the hands to support the legs if we choose. And then slowly sliding that prop out from under the knees. Just finding some really gentle movement in the pelvis here. So we can think about rocking the pelvis back like we're squishing the low back into the mat. And then gently rocking it forward, allowing the back to just to come slightly off the mat. Just moving in a way that feels supported and comfortable, pain-free. Maybe gently rock the knees side to side as well, massaging over the back of the hips. We're going to keep the left foot rooted into the mat space and begin to invite the right knee in towards the chest. We can hold either behind the knee or the front of the shin. Really thinking about feeling supported through the low back. So optional to keep that left leg bent so we feel really supported here. If you want to walk it out a little bit further, you can. I'll encourage you to just inch it slowly, and as soon as we start to feel any pulling or tugging through the low back, then just ease off a little bit and hang out here. If you want to support that grounded leg, you could take the prop right under the knee here, giving a little bit of support there if you choose. And let's just allow ourselves to settle into this shape. Bringing the awareness to the back of that right hip. Allowing ourselves to uncoil and release any tension that's held there. So you can choose to find stillness in this knee to chest position, or if it feels okay for you, maybe even finding a little bit of gentle movement, so some rocking from side to side here. Sometimes when we're holding a lot of tension in an area, then those long static holds can provide release, but sometimes it actually just creates kind of a reaction in the body. So the gentle rocking can feel kind of soothing and safe and comforting for the body. Just allowing things to soften a little bit more. And then potentially just finding that static hold then. We'll remember that in our yin practice, we're looking to work with the deeper tissues within the body, the deep connective tissues. And so in order to access those, we kind of want the muscles and the tissues more on the surface, ligaments, tendons, to be really relaxed. If the body's feeling unsafe, then those muscles are automatically going to tighten as a protective mechanism. So in our yin practice, I often like to say less is more, where we don't need to move to end range of the shape to really get the benefit of the practice. And a lot of times that's counterproductive or counterintuitive, because then we just trigger that reaction from the physical body. So just moving to the place where we begin to feel some sensation, and then just giving ourselves a permission to stay there, which can be just as much of a mental exercise as a physical one. In this world that we live in that moves hard and fast all the time, we're constantly pushing limits and reaching goals. So simply allowing our body to not have to move to end range can sometimes be a little tough mentally. So just open yourself to that part of the practice as well. We're going to slowly move out of this first side. Moving nice and controlled, slower than we want to, and just notice what happens as we move out. Sometimes we can feel a nice release. Sometimes we'll feel things start to kind of tighten up a little bit. So place that right foot back to the mat space. We can bring the left foot back to match it. And then just find a little gentle movement here. So maybe the rocking of the pelvis here. Maybe some side to side of the knees. Just helping to shift any tension we may be unearthed. And then we'll get ready to head into the second side. So making sure the low back feels nice and supported. Let's begin to draw that to left knee in towards the chest. So grabbing behind the knee or the front of the shin. And again, just moving until we start to feel the sensation. So just because we can journey further doesn't mean that's where we want to be. As soon as we start to feel that little pull, I'm going to give myself the permission to stay there. And then again, optional to maybe walk that right foot out a little bit further, but as soon as we start to feel any pulling or discomfort through the low back, we'll just ease back a little bit here. Allowing the torso to rest heavy into the mat, just ensuring that we're not holding unnecessary tension through the shoulders, so just nice and relaxed there. Finding stillness or finding some gentle movement side to side. Maybe little circles. Maybe repeating that mantra, or just simply using the mantra, I am safe in my body. My body is safe. Without any judgment, just simple observation. Inquire as to any differences you can notice from side to side. So here in this space, I know in my body I tend to carry more tension through my entire left side, and more specifically the left hip. So anytime I'm feeling low back tension, I know it's often from that tightness through the left hip. And a lot of times, discomfort through the low back can just come from imbalance from side to side. So if one side is feeling a lot tighter than the other, just that simple imbalance can lead the body to send us that pain message, just telling us something's off. So maybe we just need to open some space there. It may also tell us that we need to build some stabilization through one side or both. Staying really connected with the breath. Remembering that that exhale is there to help us release heat and tension. And we can direct that inhale wherever we're needing it most. Also taking note if you're feeling this anywhere else within the body. We won't get too deep into it today, but the body kind of functions on axes. There's reciprocals within the body, so something going on in the hip may have impact on the opposite shoulder, just the way those axes work. So try not to analyze or judge what's happening, but just simply notice. Using this as an opportunity to get to know your body a little bit better. Slowly, we're going to begin to release that left leg back down to the mat, bringing the right up to meet. And then we can rock the knees side to side. Maybe find that little tilt to the pelvis. Just pressing into the soles of the feet. Let's lift the hips up, release them back down. Just so we're feeling nice and grounded, kind of aligned through the pelvis. And then we're going to take the right ankle crossing over the left knee, letting that right knee fall out to the side, but we want to stay nice and rooted through both hips. So try not to lean to the right or lift that left hip. Nice and rooted here. So we have the option to stay here, nice and grounded. I sometimes like to place a hand to the thigh here or the inner part of the knee, not to push it out, but just basically to know that it's supported. If you're wanting a little bit more sensation, you could take any prop and place it under that left foot, just lifting the floor up a little bit for you, or is an option to reach in behind that left leg, pulling the left knee and the right ankle in a little closer to the body. Again, remembering we don't need to dive into the deepest expression. I'm getting sensation here, so I'm just going to give myself the permission to hang out here and release what needs to be released in this more rooted variation. So just listen to your body to decide where you want to be here today. And again, finding that stillness, or maybe finding that little bit of gentle movement. That rocking can feel really soothing to the body. Keeping the eyes closed if that feels okay for you. Just helps us to release any visual distractions, allowing us to connect a little deeper within. Feeling any pinching or discomfort, just gently tilt that pelvis backwards or pressing the low back into the mat. So we're feeling that support in that area of the body. As we're here, if we start to feel things release a little bit, you can maybe allow yourself to journey a little bit deeper into the shape, but know that that's not necessary. We're still going to get the benefits staying where we are. Nice and connect with the breath. Give yourself the permission to release. Observe the sensation you're feeling right now and where you're feeling it, but try not to judge it or analyze it. Just simply noticing. And again, noticing what we're feeling kind of in that right hip area, which is what we're working to kind of target with this shape. But notice if we're also feeling a gentle pull or tug or sensation anywhere else within the physical body. If that left foot is lifted up off the mat, just gently releasing it back down. And then we're going to continue sliding the right leg across the left to find a cross-legged position like we were sitting cross-legged in a chair. Again, just adjusting the hips and pelvis so we feel really supported here. We're rooted through those hips. Maybe gently tilting that pelvis backwards. We feel really supported through the low back. And we can choose to stay grounded down through that left foot. You could slide a prop underneath just to lift that floor up a little bit here. Or we could reach in behind that left leg or for the fronts of the shins. Just drawing ourselves in a little bit further here. So again, you don't need to force this position. Just allow yourself to be where you are. Connected with breath, connected with body. Letting go of any external distraction, just letting yourself draw within. We've pulled that left foot off the mat or have a prop under. Let's release, bringing that left foot back to the mat space. And then supporting the right leg, let's slowly begin to draw that foot back to the mat. Realign through those hips, maybe find some gentle movement here. And just pause for a moment, notice what's happening for you right now. And we're going to make our way into the second side. So crossing that left ankle over right knee, letting that left knee fall outwards. And again, if you're getting sensation here, even if it's just a little bit, give yourself permission to stay and just explore that. Just because we can journey deeper by pulling knee into chest doesn't mean we need to. And maybe what we need is just to stay here and release the tension that's coming up for us here without feeling the need to move in deeper. Nice and connected with the breath. If you are wanting a little more, always optional just to slide that prop under the right foot there. Making sure we're nice and relaxed through the shoulders, the arms run alongside the body or resting to the belly, whatever feels supported for you. Deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Just really allowing yourself to be in your practice, not worrying about anything else but this moment. So from here, let's slowly begin to cross that left leg a little further over the right. We were sitting cross-legged in a chair. So again, we don't need to force this. It doesn't have to go all the way across, just where we can move to comfortably. And lift those hips and kind of realign a little bit if you need to, so we feel really supported. Staying grounded through that right foot. We could place a prop under, or we could reach up, bringing the knees in towards the chest. Find stillness or find some gentle movement. Again, just letting go of the idea that the stretch or the sensation needs to be really intense for it to be doing anything. Knowing when we're working with the more subtle body, the subtle energies, that it doesn't need to be intense. By not forcing it, we can actually end up journeying a little further, a little deeper. Just by allowing ourselves to feel safe and to feel comfortable. The leg is lifted, gently releasing back to the mat. Then let's support that left foot back to the mat as well. Maybe finding some really gentle movement here in the pelvis or the hips. Maybe even stretch those arms up overhead and just kind of find some length through the body, through the torso. Then making our way into a really gentle twist. Make sure you have props handy just in case you'd like the support for them. We're going to begin with the feet about hip width apart, gently tilting that pelvis down into the mat space so the low back feels supported. We're going to lift the hips and shift them just slightly to the left. So this helps us to maintain alignment of the spine as we head into our twist. And then allow the knees to fall over to the right. So we can use that prop between the knees or under that right knee to just provide some extra support, lifting that floor up. If it does feel comfortable, you can allow the knees to fall right down to the floor space or the mat. But again, just wanting to avoid any intense pulling or stretching through the low back and the hips. We're working to keep that left shoulder nice and rooted. As open as we can be through the heart space. And the arms can be stretched out like a T, or maybe bending at the elbows 90 degrees. Finding our cactus arms. Because we're focusing more on our lower back, we can just keep the gaze either out to the right or up towards the ceiling. Once again, just drawing that awareness down to the low back and the hips and the pelvis. Just sending love and giving permission to release any built up tension. Release anything that's out of balance. Inviting ourselves back into alignment. Long, slow breaths in. Long, slow breaths out. Slowly, with control, let's begin to roll back towards midline. Pressing into the soles of the feet, shift that pelvis back to center and just take a breath here. Observe what's happening for you. Press into the feet once again. Gently tilt the pelvis, and we're going to lift the hips, shifting them just slightly to the right. And then allow the knees to fall over to the left. Using whatever support you need here. So placing something under the left knee, between the knees. If we just need a little support, we could even use the palm of the hand or a fist between the knees. Stretching the arms wide like a T if that feels okay. We'll let that right shoulder feel heavy down towards the mat space. And gazing out over the left shoulder up towards the ceiling. It's really focusing the release in this posture on the low back. Just taking that moment again to inquire into what's happening for your body right now. Trying to move from a place of non-judgment, but just observe if we're feeling the sensation a little bit differently on this side. Maybe we're feeling it in a different location. Maybe we're feeling a little bit different intensity. Maybe we need a little bit more support or a little less support. And give yourself that opportunity to feel safe and supported in this shape. Just a few more long, deep breaths here. And slowly, gently beginning to make our way back to our backs. Pressing into the soles of the feet, realign through the hips. Release down. If we need some gentle shifting here, give yourself that permission. Maybe hugging both knees into chest. Rock side to side. As we head into our final shape here, I'm going to encourage you, if it feels safe in your body, to choose a legs up position as your resting pose. So either moving over to a wall space, stretching the legs up the wall so they feel really supported. We can find it just on our mats, tucking the backs of the hands under the hips so we feel a little bit supported. Or we could take a prop sliding under the hip space here, taking that legs up position and either keeping the legs extended or even just allowing the knees to fall down, whether we're using support or against the wall. Just a really nice release for the low back, and also just energetically helps us to, energetically and physically, I guess, helps us to kind of drain everything out from the lower part of the body. So just choose whatever variation feels really supported for you. And if you prefer just to choose traditional Shavasana on your back as your resting pose, then definitely listen to your body and make your way there. But if we can, just really allowing ourselves to begin to drop into that stillness, to drop into the space that we've created. Closing through the eyes. I'll encourage you to stay here for at least 10 to 15 cycles of breath. But if you have the time and are able to stay even longer, please do. Take a moment to thank yourself for showing up within your practice today, for slowing down, connecting with the body, with the breath. I'll look forward to practicing with you again soon. Namaste.